agencies to reduce their spending by 3% except for public schools, right?
That's right, in fiscal year 26. And then later we came out with some direction to have agency directors in the driver's seat on how to also balance the budget for fiscal year 27. So I think we have confidence in the plan that the governor is going to roll out. It's not like previous years when we had huge influx in growth, but the governor's been solid about the economy does look good. I think we're just responding to kind of some more normalization of what we're seeing in terms of revenue coming in.
And we're still waiting for the governor to enter the House chambers and begin his speech. But let's talk a little bit about that stabilization of revenue, because we're coming out of a huge influx of federal dollars during the COVID years, where we saw a lot of money from the federal government to help prop up some state revenues that might have otherwise struggled. Can you talk about Idaho's approach during those years compared to some of the other states?
I think Idaho did a fantastic job. Like some other states, they stood up new ongoing programs. They obligated one-time money for ongoing obligations, and Idaho didn't do that. We paid down debt. We took care of a lot of deferred maintenance. We invested in some major capital projects and investments around water and sewer and transportation, and really positioned Idaho for the growth that we're seeing now. Also, when revenues were exceeding, we looked at tax cuts. We put money back in the pockets of Idaho families.
Kevin, when it comes to education today, and we just got word that lawmakers are going to invite the governor into the House chambers to give his speech. So while we're waiting, what are you going to be listening for when it comes to both public education and higher education?
I think the big thing to listen for today and the big thing to watch for as the session unfolds is what happens to K-12, because as you discussed already, K-12 has been spared so far from the budget cuts that we've seen. There are some lawmakers, there are some interest groups that are saying a budget cut should have gone across the board and K-12 should have been affected. So it'll be really interesting to see how K-12 fares through this session. Also, higher education. Now, higher education already did take a hit. They did take about a $13 million hit when you look at the 3% cut. What happens to higher ed, what their budget looks like at a time when you've had enrollment increases, and at a time when, anytime you cut higher ed spending at the state level, it creates pressure on tuition and fees, and it eventually becomes something that gets passed on to students and parents.
And Director Wolf, one of the big pressures on the budget the past few years has been the Medicaid spending, and not just because of Medicaid expansion, but